Alright, hello, welcome back to Scholar Stack doing some math. Today we'll be simplifying and multiplying rational expressions. So here's an example of a rational expression here, or a couple rational expressions. And we're going to simplify them or multiply them. First we'll start off with simplifying. For some reason this is missing a u. Okay, here we go. So, start off with part A. If everything is being multiplied together, we can just cross stuff out. B divided by B, that crosses out. So we're left with A over C. Part B. So we treat the numbers like normal. 8 divided by 6, we can reduce that. 2 goes into 8 4 times. And 2 goes into 6 3 times. Okay? And then x squared up top means x times x. And then on the bottom we have 1x, so that goes away. So we're left with 1x on top. And then we have 3y's up top and 4y's in the bottom. This is y cubed up top, y to the fourth. So we're going to have 4x y on the bottom. Okay? And then remember, variables comes in all shapes and sizes. We have upside down t, or the perpendicular sign, delta. The deltas will cancel out. And I wrote it in this u. For some reason it didn't, it wasn't typed in, but this means u. It just means, it's just the letter u. And then those will cancel, so you're just left with 1 over u. Alright, let's go to more examples. Alright, so what you want to do is factor these completely. So up top in part D, looking for two numbers that multiply, so factors of 10. So multiply into 10 and add up to 7. So I have x, and then hopefully you figured out that plus 5 and plus 2. So 5 times 2 is 10. 5 plus 2 is 7. And then on the bottom, two numbers that multiply to negative 4 and add up to 0. That's x plus 2, x minus 2. And then we just, boom. So we're left with x plus 5, x minus 2. And that's our answer. Next up, part E. Okay, a different way of factoring is these two numbers are multiples of 4, so I can pull out a 4. And I'm left with x plus 3. On the bottom, two numbers that multiply to negative 15 and add up to negative 2. And that's going to be 5 and 3. Plus 5, negative 3. Oh, sorry. Other way around. Whoa. Whoa. X minus 5 plus 3. Because you'll get the negative 15 if you multiply, and then if you add them up, you'll get a negative 2. It cancels these out, and we're left with 4 over x minus 5. That's our answer. Next, 2s squared plus 4sh. So we can factor out a 2, because they both share a multiple of 2, and they both share an s. So I'm going to pull out an s. So the first one, if I pull out 2 and an s, we're left with 1s. And then I pull out 2 and left with an h. Okay, on the bottom, I have s squared h. Okay, so I can take out 1s. So I'll be left with 2s plus 2h over sh. Hopefully that wasn't too complicated. Alright, part G. Lots of numbers, but we know that the top, so just looking at the top, they're all multiples of 3. So 3 goes in the first one 6 times. And then next one is 5 times, negative 5 times. And then negative 4 times. Okay. And I'm still going to work on the top. So this is still the top. So this will be 3 times. So this one's a little bit tricky. This is one of your trickier factoring ones because they have an A value now. With an A value, these two first numbers have to be factors of 6. It could have been 6 and 1 or 3 and 2. It happens to be 3 and 2 in this case, but it can be 6 and 1. So you got to try out all your different combinations. So how this works is 3 times 1 is 3x plus 2 times negative 4 is negative 8x. When they add up, you get negative 5. Okay, so that's the top. Now let's look at the bottom. So we can pull out a 6 from all those. We got 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. And that'll become 6 times 2x and x. So this one's a little bit easier because we only have one choice, 2 and 1 for our A values. And now we only have one other possibility, x plus 1, 2x plus 1, because they have to be factors of 1. Okay, so that's our top and bottom. So I'm going to rewrite that really quick. 3x minus 4, 2x plus 1, 6, 2x plus 1, x plus 1. Those two will cancel. And then 3 will become 1, and that'll become 2. So I'm left with 3x minus 4 up top over 2 times 2x plus 1 on the bottom. Oh, sorry. Not 2x plus 1. 3x minus 4 and 2 times x plus 1. Okay, that was G. Alright. X cubed minus 8. So that one is a difference of cubes. So remember that is a minus b, x minus 2, where a is the cube root. So this is a cubed minus b cubed. There you go. So this is a minus b times a squared plus, I think it's plus ab. So plus 2x. And then plus b squared. All over. Pull out 2. X squared minus 4. So we'll be left with, oh sorry, that's not a. I wrote a, but a is x. So the bottom is going to become, so just looking at the bottom, this is going to be 2x plus 2 x minus 2. So that's going to cancel out with that. So I'm going to be left with x squared plus 2x plus 4 up top. And no, we cannot factor that. Two numbers that multiply to 4 and add a positive 2. Can't happen. Well, two real numbers anyways. And on the bottom, we'll get 2x plus 2. Alright, one last one for simplifying. So we can't pull any numbers up top here. So we're going to still try to factor it. 7x and 3x makes 21. Of course, you could have 21 and 1, but most likely that's not going to work. Multiplying something by 21 is pretty big. And then we have to look at factors of 20, and then after being multiplied to these two numbers, we'll get negative 23. And that turns out to be plus 4 and minus 5. And this is basically you're just checking and checking. There's no secret. There's experience, but, you know, but you just keep checking all the different factors, see what works. Because 7x times 3x is 21x squared. 7x times negative 5 is negative 35. Plus 12 is negative 23. And then lastly, 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. And then on the bottom, we're going to have 2x plus 9, 3x minus 5. So again, the first two numbers, 2x and 3x, they multiply to 6x squared. Then we look at factors of negative 45. Try out all the combinations, and after they're multiplied, so the 2x gets multiplied to the negative 5, and the 3x gets multiplied to the 9. Get plus 17x. These will cancel, and you're left with 7x plus 4 over 2x plus 9. That's simplifying. Let's move on to multiplying. Here we go. So it's basically the same thing, but we're going to multiply. And we got our 3 steps here. Step 1, factor each expression completely. Step 2, multiply the fractions, and when you multiply fractions, you go straight across the top, straight across the bottom. And step 3, simplify. Okay, so these are being multiplied. So this is going to be x plus 8 times x plus 2. Now, you don't have to FOIL this. You don't have to combine them. Just because we're going to simplify them anyways. So you can leave them like this. So that's the top. Just going straight across the top. And then on the bottom, x plus 2, x minus 4, and x. Okay? And now we're going to simplify. Boom. So I'm left with x plus 8 over x times x minus 4. All I did was rearrange the x to the other side. Either way works. If the x is on the left or on the right, it doesn't matter. As long as you have parentheses of x minus 4 there. Alright. Part B. Now, one trick I like to do right off the bat, and since they're being multiplied together, I just do this. Just extend my division line. But I do have to do a little bit of simplification. This is 56, x to the 7th, y to the 4th. So there's 3 x's here, there's 4 more there. That's why we add them up when there's multiplication going on. And then on the bottom, we have 2, 8, 8xy cubed. Okay. So 8 goes into 56 7 times. So we have 7 up top. And then x to the 7th over x is x to the 6th. Y to the 4th over y to the 3 is y to the 4 minus 3, which is y to the 1st. So I'm just left with 7x to the 6 y. Okay. Part C. So now it gets a little bit complicated. So what you want to do, back to step 1, factor each expression completely. So let's factor all these. So I'm going to pull out 3x, and I'll get 1 minus x times, and this becomes x plus 5, x minus 4, over x plus 5, x minus 1, times 3x. So since everything's being multiplied together, I can get rid of this 3x and that 3x, and this x plus 5 and this x plus 5. Okay, so I'm left with 1 minus x over, or times x minus 4, over x minus 1. Okay. And okay. So there's one more thing I can do. Is if you'll take a look, 1 minus x and x minus 1, they're very, very similar. And what I can do is pull out a negative 1 out of the top. So if I pull a negative 1 out, I'll get negative 1 times, in just the first parentheses here. So that'll become a positive x, and then it'll become a negative 1. And now the x minus 1s will cancel. So I'm left with, going in a weird direction here, negative x minus 4. That will be our answer. Part D. So remember, this is over 1. Okay. So factor everything. X plus 2. X plus... Actually, we can't factor this one. So we have x plus 2. X squared plus 3x plus 9. Over... So that'll factor into a minus b, which is x minus 3, x squared times ab, which is 3x, plus b squared, which is 9. So that'll cancel out with that. So we have x plus 2, x minus 3. So once again, I didn't do it before, but if we have a cubed minus b cubed, that becomes a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. Alright, part E. How many of these do I have to do? Oh, jeez. Alright. Here we go. Part E. I'm going to speed it up. 7x plus 4, 2x minus 9 times 3x minus 5, 2x minus 9 over 3x minus 5, x minus 7, 7x plus 4, x minus 7. Oh. Okay. Then we cancel out what we can. So we have a 7x plus 4 here. We have a 3x minus 5 here. And that's it. We have a 2x minus 9 twice. So that can be simplified to that. And then we have x minus 7 twice. And that. Alright. Part F. X plus 2 times x plus 2 over x minus 4 times x minus, minus, stop, please. X minus 2. And the only way to simplify it is x plus 2 squared over x minus 4, x minus 2, nothing can cancel. They might ask you what is your excluded values, and your excluded values, you take a look at your bottom, set it equal to 0. So if I want to look for my excluded values, x cannot equal 4, and x cannot equal 2. Because if I plug x equals 4 in the denominator, I'll get, I'll get undefined. I'll get a 0 in the denominator, which will make it undefined. You cannot divide by 0. Same thing with 2. If I back up into all these questions, you set each little piece before you cross anything out. You set the denominator equal to 0. That's if you're dealing with a function. So the simplification, you could wait until the last step. So once again, you could wait until the last after everything is canceled out. So your domain for this one is all real numbers but positive 7 for the party. And let's move on. Alright, dividing. Dividing, let's look back on how we divided fractions. If I had 1/2 divided by 3/4, what we do is we keep the 1/2, we change division into multiplication, and then we flip the second fraction. And then we multiply like normal. And then we reduce. So just like normal fractions. And we call that flip fraction the reciprocal. So here we go. Once again, we're going to rewrite this. So we have 7x over 2x minus 10 times, so keep the first fraction the same, flip the second one. So x squared minus 11x plus 30 over x squared minus 6x. And then you multiply it like normal. Again, I'm going to speed on through this just because hopefully you've mastered factoring by now. If you don't, this is going to take you a very long time to do on your homework. 2 times x minus 5, and then x times x minus 6. That's not a plus. Okay. Cancel out what you have. Just got 7 over 2. Part H. So part H, once again, x squared minus 4x minus 21 over 5x plus 15 times, change division to multiplication, flip the second fraction using the reciprocal, flip. What I do with my tablet, gotta flip. X squared minus 100 over x squared plus 3x minus 70. So this factors into x minus 7, x plus 3 over 5, x plus 3, yeah. And this will be x minus 10, x plus 10, over x plus 10, x minus 7. So that will cancel out with that, and that will cancel out with that, that will cancel out with that. So I'm left with, just going to put the answer right up here, x minus 10 over 5. Did I do that right? Yep. Okay. Five a cubed b over ab squared. Change division into multiplication. Flip 15ab cubed over ab. Multiply 75 a to the 4th, b to the 4th. That's a b. A squared b cubed. So that's going to equal 75a squared b. Part J. So remember, this is fraction 6x squared plus x minus 15 over 4x squared. Change division, multiplication. Flip the fraction. So on the top here, I'm going to get 3x plus 5, 2x minus 3 over 4x squared times 1 over, I'm going to factor out an x, Okay, that's going to cancel out with that. And I'll get 4x cubed in the bottom, so I'll have 2x minus 3 over 4x cubed. Zero, x cannot be 0, because denominator will be 0. Alright, next. So, we have a fraction, and then they show over a fraction. So remember, that's just a division sign. So keep the first fraction the same. Change division into multiplication. Flip the second fraction. Factor. So I have x minus 1 x squared plus x plus 1 over, and then we have the 3x plus 2 over 2x, x minus 1, those will cancel. So I'm left with x squared plus x plus 1, 3x plus 2 over 2x. Last one. Boy. Okay, starting my hand. So I'm going to go ahead and change to multiplication and division, and then these two swap. And then I'm going to go ahead and factor. So the first one's going to be x minus 2, x minus 18. And then since we're flipping them over, it's 5x plus 9, 2x plus 3. Thank you for having it already, for having some of it already factored. And then on the bottom, we're going to have 5x plus 9, x plus 1. And then we're going to factor out a 3x from there. And get x minus 2. So let's see what we can get rid of. Get rid of that. Can get rid of that. So I got x plus 18. 5x plus 9, or 2x plus 3. On the bottom, 3x times the quantity x plus 1. Okay. And that is it for today. We simplified, we multiplied, and divided rational expressions. Basically, the 3 steps, if you're simple, just factor everything and then simplify. If you're dividing fractions, make sure to change multiplication, change division, multiplication, and then flip the second fraction. Okay. All right. Hopefully that'll help you out. Have a good day.